Hello, I'm Robert and welcome to my channel where I talk about everything automated algorithmic trading or simply algo trading. Today I'm going to go a little bit behind the scenes in terms of what goes into some of the tools I've built and why sometimes updates take a long time to happen. This is the frequency weighted order book analyzer, an open source project attached to Jackrabbit Relay. It has a myriad of functionalities and a wide range of data analysis tools. It is really the backbone to a lot of my own personal analysis and what I depend on daily to figure out my next steps within the market. And it has a dark side to it. But it's not alone. Every tool of this scale really has the same dark side. And that is, it can be expensive to run, operate, maintain, and collect the information it needs for it to be able to provide the numbers you see on the screen. It would be nice to be able to show this as a chart versus just numbers, because this really would be a picture of 10,000 words because of its availability, functionality, and depth. For example, we are looking at the frequency weighted table, but I could easily bring up just a frequency table where the frequencies are calculated based upon the level price has actually been seen at. That is, if you believe in mean reversion techniques as the basis of your trading style, this information gives you some of the most important details you could possibly imagine. You will see where price has been over a number of days, weeks, or months, and thus likely where it could potentially return to. And if you just want to be a purist and you want only the volume of the order book, that is also available. And we actually see where the volume of the orders are. And the program highlights exactly where those volumes are and the basis of the number of decimals it's counting. In this particular case, I have my layout set to 3 decimals because it gives me an accurate representation of this market. But that isn't always the case. Let's go back to the weighted table and let's bring up something a little more intriguing. What if I want to actually look at this using 4 decimals, meaning the pip level? I want to see the order book at pip resolution. Well, I can do that. And I see the grayed out numbers where price hasn't been at all. I see the weight on a basis of pip level saturation. So I can go 5 levels, 4 levels, 3 levels, 2 levels, so forth. A large amount of data at my fingertips for analysis. So if you want to see the micro pip analysis, 5 digits behind the decimal, that is also available. That is, you can really begin to see just how this data can be absolutely wonderful in a chart. Being able to draw a chart with this information would be astounding. Let's go to a much bigger picture or a larger outlook at 2 decimals. and we will yet again see just where price is on a much larger scale. That is the range of where the market has actually been. The grayed out numbers for the zeros are, of course, where price has not been in the 48 days that this program has data to analyze. That is the whole problem. I can only store 48 days of data, realistically, because the amount of data I need is staggering. Now, I can take this one step further, but it exponentially drives the amount of data needed through the roof. For example, if I wanted to show this on a chart, I would have to take the order book data and save it to disk. And I've actually done that over an experiment to see the differences of just what that would be for the amount of data I have. So that's going to be the next part we're going to look at. Here is what I'm actually storing on disk. This covers 172,000 data points, and it requires 14 megabytes of disk storage. Now, let me make clear that there are 1,000 different ways of storing this data. It's really part of the problem, because the different choices you have for storing the data only adds to the problem itself, both in delay and in cost. And those can undermine what you're trying to achieve by collecting the data to begin with. So you have to have trade-offs, and those trade-offs really are problematic. So we're looking at the data in raw form, unprocessed. This data is what is used to produce that beautiful table I had running real time. It's really a work of art in many regards, but it's only part of the picture. So at 14 megabytes, it's manageable, it's easy, it just works well. But now if I store the order book data, and I actually go through the process of trying to collect it, we get a whole different nightmare. So here we can see the actual sizes of just the ticker data, 14 megabytes, and the ticker data with the order book, 17 gigabytes. This is only 48 actual days of data. But because of saving the order book for every time I pull the ticker, 17 gigabytes of data, one single asset. That is monolithic in imaginations when you think about just how little data we really have. For example, if we wanted to put this on a chart, we only have 48 days to chart. What if you wanted a year? You would end up with over 5 terabytes of data for just this one single asset. If you wanted to track multiple assets, you could actually have 95 terabytes, depending upon what this particular broker allows. But let's look at the data itself in raw form. So here we see the data, which we have the exact ticker data we had previously, but we see an extra field. Let me scroll this over. We see a full, complete copy of the order book. Now, what does that look like? Actually seeing all of that data at once. Here is the last entry of yesterday's market before we went into the weekend. We see the ticker data on the first line, and we see the very beginning of the order book. And then we have page after page after page of order book data. Now, think about this realistically. This data can be used in so many different ways, it's mind-boggling. But the amount of data storage space you need is just as mind-boggling. Can you pay for this? Not always. A lot of this kind of data isn't even available unless you collect it yourself. Now, open source projects like Jackrabbit Relay try to make this data accessible to everyone, but there are limits, and that is the amount of size needed for this to run. But what if you wanted the order book data from last year or from 2020 when we had that big market crash, and you wanted to actually see what happened inside the order book? It doesn't exist. And the amount of storage required to keep that data, even if you just wanted to track one asset, for 5 years, you're looking at 25 terabytes of data. This is the one problem that I've been trying to solve on my own. And I've been blessed with many people helping me. I don't have institutions, I don't have banks, I don't have large academia. I simply have other retail traders, average individuals like you, just like me, working together trying to get answers. You see, when you're trading, the first thing you need to make informed decisions is data. And a lot of that data, when you're examining the order book, whether it's from machine learning or just trying to see trends or trying to analyze a real market situation, all of it has the consequence of data. And that data has the consequence of storage, electricity, equipment, some of which can be dealt with easily, some of which not so much. Open source has really been the bread and butter to how this kind of information gets into the average individual's hands, but at the cost of speed. It takes a long time to collect and analyze this information. Open source projects don't get enough support to be able to really bring on more programmers or individuals to help analyze this data better. And even if they could, and you get all of this information for free, somebody still has to pay the bill of it being hosted, of the programmers having the equipment, the electricity, the lights, all other things that go into this data. But that's where you can help, by either sponsoring projects or contributing. See, there's a lot of different ways this software can be used. This is just one area. Data storage can be done through diversification. Many people working together, collecting one piece of the information to make a bigger puzzle. That is another resource available that open source makes very possible because it's transparent. But as we progress through the market and through the data points, through the information, we begin to see how we can make real money. But that is, of course, the whole point of why people like me do this. Why we spend 4 or 5 or 10 or 20 years of our lives researching techniques, researching ways to make this information accessible to everyone. It's not an easy process. but it's a fun process for us. It's a challenge to understand how we can make all of this overwhelming data meaningful. And it's why I believe everybody should learn how to trade, because it gives you the freedom to understand your own finances. Even if you're only making pennies a day, more than likely you're going to be making more than what your bank account is ever going to give you. By understanding how to trade legitimately through the use of all of this information, you are gaining knowledge to help your own personal situation, your own personal lifestyle. My biggest driving force for continuing any of these projects is to try to help people see real value in their own finances, to take a step, to learn, to develop, and to actually gain real benefit. Not through snake oil tactics that flood YouTube, not through entertainment channels that wave Lamborghinis and stacks of cash, but real world data, real actual trading techniques. So as you continue to watch my videos and you wonder why it takes so long for updates to take place sometimes, this is why. We are in a very unique situation in that we have large amounts of information to help us trade, but we don't actually use all of the information we have in a meaningful way. And there are a lot of bad actors or villains within the markets, like institutions and big banks, that don't want the average individual to learn how to trade, to learn how to keep their money, to learn how to make responsible decisions about their own investments. You see, if you learn how to trade, you can learn how to make money. You can learn how to make the market work for you. It's about managing your risks, understanding your risks, and understanding that you don't need a lot to get involved, to begin to learn. The more you have when you begin, the more you'll be able to earn right away. But you only need $1,000 or less just to get your feet wet and learn how to trade. And with many brokers now giving very robust demo accounts, you can begin learning for free. But if you really want to get into what makes a market work, whether it's Forex or stocks or crypto, you need tools. You need data. Those tools and the data are available if you're willing to put a little bit of work in, either by sponsoring projects you use that are open source or by learning and putting effort into understanding how the process actually works. And most importantly, you should actually be doing both. Using open source tools gives you a level of transparency and security where you can see what's going on. You can learn about the techniques being used, and you can gain education about how to trade properly, appropriate to your own personal situation, to your own finances, to your own needs. So, help support projects like this. Get involved. Take a few dollars, 5, 10, 20. try to trade. Learn the process. Open a demo account. Practice. There are hundreds of ways to get involved and get a little bit out of the market. You don't need to be a mathematical genius. You don't even need to have a master's in mathematics. You just have to understand simple addition and subtraction. If you buy at $1, then you sell again at $1.50. You've made 50 cents in profit. Now you do need to be aware of your commissions or fees that you trade for that, but it's still that easy. Especially if you have tools. Tools that help you trade. Tools that give you a way to trade. You will never see this channel state that it's for entertainment purposes. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to teach you through data, through being able to build a system that you can put on your own machine and run and build on. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave a comment. Share your thoughts. Get involved. Thank you for watching, and until next time.